Your room's too quiet. But you're not alone. Welcome to Mystery Files, where the dark breathes your name. Step inside, or it'll pull you through. On the eerie night of June 15th, 2020, a phone call rattled Aba, Saudi Arabia. A man, an accountant working in Al-Baha with his wife, received a chilling call from his neighbor. The neighbor reported hearing terrifying screams from the man's 4 daughters emanating from his house with no response to their frantic knocks. Gripped by fear, the man tried calling his children to no avail, then sped through the night with his wife to reach Abha. Arriving at dawn, they faced a nightmarish scene. Neighbors gathered outside their home, their faces frozen in horror and grief. Rushing inside, the couple was struck by a gut-wrenching sight: the lifeless bodies of their 5 children. Their 4 daughters had been savagely murdered, and their only son was found hanging from a noose in his bedroom. The terror deepened when police uncovered a horrifying video recorded by the son, capturing his gruesome acts as he ended his sisters' lives one by one, whispering, "The game has begun," and later, "The game is over," before taking his own life. The son, a reclusive 14-year-old, was consumed by an obsession with violent video games, spending countless hours glued to his PlayStation, where dark thoughts took root. His parents' neglect, driven by their demanding jobs, and their failure to address his isolation fueled a descent into horror. The story leaves a haunting mystery. Was the boy solely a victim of his obsession? Or did something far more sinister possess him? This tragedy, which shook Saudi Arabia, serves as a grim warning about the perils of neglect and electronic addiction. In the suffocating heat of summer, between silent mountains and a heavy sky, a crime took place, one that no one could fully explain. The fire was merely the final act of a horror show that no one witnessed. It all started with an isolated house, lost among the hills, where an entire family vanished in a single night. There were no screams, no cries for help, only a deadly silence followed by flames that devoured both walls and flesh. When the firefighters arrived, they found the charred remains piled in one room, as if arranged for some grim offering. But the autopsies revealed something worse. Death didn't come from the fire, but from a bullet to each of their heads, and traces of a powerful sedative in their blood. The most chilling part? The front door was locked from the inside, the windows untouched. No one entered. No one escaped. Only 2 were missing, and when they were found, days later, their faces were eerily blank, as if nothing had happened. Investigations suggested the killers were among the victims themselves. But how and why? Authorities buried the case quickly. Evidence disappeared and rumors spread like ashes in the wind. Some whispered that the mother had seen something she shouldn't have, something that made blood freeze in veins. Others spoke of nighttime whispers, strange rituals, or perhaps something not entirely human moving between the rooms. The truth? It burned with the bodies, leaving behind only a long shadow of dread. To this day, locals avoid passing near that abandoned house, where sometimes you can still hear a laughter creeping through the scorched walls. In a remote village, where ancient forests claw at the edges of the sky, there stood an old well known as the Well of Forgotten Names. It was said its water brought fortune to those who drank it, but villagers whispered that anyone who glimpsed their reflection in it at night would see something else, staring back from the depths. One autumn, 3 entire families vanished. No trace remained except their shoes. neatly lined at the well's edge, as if they'd stepped out of them before dissolving into smoke. The villagers sealed the well with a black stone, carving a cryptic warning. Here, truth is a curse. Years later, a group of skeptics arrived, lured by the legend. They shattered the stone. On the first night, they heard knocking on their cabin door. When they opened it, no one was there, but a trail of severed footprints led from the door to the well, as if someone, or something, without feet, had dragged itself toward it. By morning, one explorer was found crouched by the well, muttering incoherently, his eyes white as bone. When asked what he saw, he screamed, "It knows our names!" before collapsing dead. The others fled, except one. His body was later found inside the well, unbroken despite the fall. His hands clasped as if clutching something invisible. The true horror? His reflection in the water wasn't his own, but dozens of faces smiling back with hollow eyes. To this day, on moonlit nights, the well's water is heard boiling, and the stench of rot seeps through the village. The locals say the forgotten names are still counting, waiting for the next soul to complete their chorus.